Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. I am Karen LeBlanc, and I minister to this community as we minister to each other. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, that science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, and that we are all part of an interconnected web, and the light and energy that we share and put out makes a difference in this world. We are people of purpose, and if what you hear today and see today resonates with you, we hope that you will consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this very long dream. Couple, housekeeping things. Masks are no longer required. You are welcome to wear one if it still makes you feel safe. We will not have coffee hour directly following the service because directly following the service is our annual budget hearing. If you are not a member and want to go directly to coffee, you can do that. We are live streaming today with our new computer, blessed be. So if there's something that you would not like to share with the world, don't say it in front of the camera. Put your phones on silent if you would. One other thing is that later today there is a march for solidarity with the Ukraine people. It is at 4 o'clock. It is right on the pulpit here. I posted it here so that everyone could see it. It's at 4 o'clock, and I think I don't remember where it starts, I'm sorry. It starts at, what does that say, Deb? Trinity Polish National Church, 1340 Plymouth Ave in Fall River. That's the Polish church in Fall River. That starts at 4 o'clock, and it'll be a march to another church. Oh, Deb, while you're here, you want to light the chalice for us? I should have had you do that while you're standing up. Opening words this morning are from Elizabeth Lerner McClay. As drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together. So are we fortunate to find each other. So are we bound together on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean and eternity. If you will, rise now in body and or spirit and sing with me hymn number 34, though I may speak with bravest fire. take the time to say good morning to one another. Which is printed in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Please be seated. Now is the time in our service where we share with each other our joys, our sorrows, our concerns, prayers for healing. So if you have something you would like to share, please come on up and share it. And I am going to light one real quick right now, a candle of ultimate joy, because we will be welcoming some new members today. Amen to that. Anyone else? I'm also going to light a candle for my good friend Joe Raposa, who just needs a little love today. So let's give him some love. We love you, Joe. I feel like that needs love.
Hi, I want to say thanks to everybody who came last, our poetry reading service, and everybody who read. And we're hoping to maybe just have people, if they want to, voluntarily submit what they wrote, and then I'm willing to put it together into a little book. Very simple, a photocopied book, but at least we'd have it. And it shows what incredible talent there is in this church, because a lot of the people I didn't know wrote or acted out, like some people acted out stories. So I also said to Karen, could we have more? Could we have more poetry? Like every once in a while in the service, and she said a really spiritual poem would be good to be part of the meditation, so we can be thinking about that. And also that I will be joining the church. So thank you.
So glad. Come on up, Nico.
Wow, good morning, everybody. We have a dog in the sanctuary. This is great. I sold my house. It's a huge transition for me to not have this worry and this debt, and I'm still not quite believing it yet that I don't have to worry about this anymore. So I'm in transition, and it's strange that I don't have this toe on land in New Bedford anymore. So I don't know. It's just an odd time in my life, and I'm still figuring things out. But I'm glad I have all you folks here to be around. Yes, this is where I have my place in the city.
One last candle. Blessed be, today is Beltane for my pagan friends out here. Hooray. And another blessing, tomorrow is Eid, the end of Ramadan for my Muslim friends. So there's a double blessing. And I light 2 final candles, as is our practice here, one for all the joys and the sorrows we keep in our hearts, and one for everyone who would love to have a place like this to share their joys and sorrows with. We shall. Ye young men, come along with your music, dance, and song. Bring your lasses in your hand, for 'tis that which love commands. Then to the maypole haste away, for 'tis now our holiday. Then to the maypole haste away, for 'tis now our holiday. Tis the choice time of the year, and the violets now appear, and the rose receives its birth, and the pretty primrose decks the earth. Then to the maypole haste away, for 'tis now our holiday. Then to the maypole haste away, for 'tis now our holiday. I did have another verse up in my head. Our first reading this morning is a responsive reading, and it is printed in your order of service. Well, good morning, Petinatis. You snuck right in. I didn't even see you. This is by Dana Warsnop. That doesn't sound right, but I know it is. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they're getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right. I want to be in beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me. I want to be with people who do everything to mention all existence and that falls upon you. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. Like you, just like you. Now, let us enter into the state of prayer and meditation. This prayer, the original version of this prayer was gathered by the folklorist Alexander Carmichael in probably the 1880s, and he printed a book called the Carmina Gadelica, which had hundreds of poems and prayers that he got from all over areas of Scotland. And it's one of the most important pieces of work ever produced in the collecting and recording of social history in the British Isles. So there's another little piece of trivia for you this morning. But this one is a pagan interpretation of the original Beltane blessing. Bless, O threefold true and bountiful, myself, my spouse, my children. Bless everything within my dwelling and in my possession. Bless the kine and crops, the flocks and corn, from Samhain Eve to Beltane Eve, with goodly progress and gentle blessing, from sea to sea and every river mouth, from wave to wave and base of waterfall. Be the maiden mother and crone, taking possession of all to me belonging. Be the horned god, the wild spirit of the forest, protecting me in truth and honor. Satisfy my soul and shield my loved ones, blessing everything and everyone, all my land and my surroundings. Great gods who create and bring life to all, I ask for your blessings on this day of fire. Amen, and so may it be. This is Beltane Wedding Dance by Gwydion Penderwyn. Oh, I should have mentioned during the candles, it's my first anniversary today, speaking of Beltane weddings. Duh. Now who will you marry on Beltane Day? Bridled and booted, say gay, say bonnily, such a young lad, in a row bowing low, which is the lad ye choose. Ride ye quickly now on your hare, we shall ride a stallion say fair. Toss a holly wreath in the ring, he that wears it soon will be king. And how will you know him on Beltane morn? By the blue of his tunic and horns say golden. Of all the lads, he shall be merrily clad in the skies and hues. Ride ye quickly now on your mare, he shall ride a stallion say fair. Toss a holly wreath in the ring, he that wears it soon will be king. Now what is that there in the palm of your hand? 'Tis the pip of the ripe quince, grand say fairy, in our land. Loving him, holding him, I shall begat a son. Ride ye quickly now on your mare, he shall ride a stallion say fair. Toss a holly wreath in the ring, he that wears it soon will be king. But what is that shadow that falls on your king? 'Tis the birth of me bairn in the spring, say joyful, such a fine lad to learn to kill what he will when the laird's reign is done. Ride ye quickly now on your mare, ye shall ride a stallion, say fair. Toss a holly wreath in the ring, he that wears it soon will be king. La 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 la. A blessed Beltane, everyone. Oh, isn't that nice? So, here comes the special part. Membership. Membership in a spiritual community means sharing yourself with others as yourself grows and changes. It means supporting each other in our individual, collective pursuit of truth. And here it means being keepers of a long dream. Here in this church, human beings have gathered for centuries, seeking a higher purpose and deeper life than they could find alone. So, as we have done happily over and over again in this church over those centuries, we welcome new members today. The relationships we form in our church are based on needs of the soul, needs that render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. As members of this church, we pledge to be guardians of each other's spirits and to respect the ultimate privacy of each other's human struggle. We are keepers of this long dream of a liberal religious community, a tolerant and supportive environment in which we can share our joys and concerns, where people will laugh and cry with us, and where we will never need to be alone in our grief or our delight. As members, we also take on the role of being stewards of this beautiful building, and we become part of an inner city community, giving of our time, talent, and treasure. Part of the beauty of this long dream we keep is that it isn't a dream that's just in our hearts and minds. Our history literally manifests all around us. And I don't know about you, but I feel pretty honored to be part of this long line of keepers of this beautiful church. I can feel the past here, and I relish it, and I love it. But I also feel the future stretching out in front of us and the keepers to come. If I've come to understand anything from my own fairly long membership in this congregation, that it's that what we do is important. And every member who becomes involved takes a part in shaping our future, as well as carrying the best parts of our history forward with us. In that spirit, would the following new members please come forward now? We've got Amanda and Ashley. We've got Pam Bullard, come on, Amanda and Ashley Barlow, Joan Underwood back there, and Donna Geller, come on. And is there anyone out there right now that I am forgetting that would like to be part of this congregation today and sign the book? Oh, just asking, just asking. Okay. Greetings, my friends. Oh, I'm so happy. We welcome you all, and we are so grateful for you to be here today, that you have found your way here, and that you have decided to make a commitment to this community. We hope that as members of this church, you will allow yourselves to be known and to know, to minister and to be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by this congregation. So, new members, we are glad you have chosen this community of fellow seekers to travel with on your life's journey. Will you accept our gifts of fellowship, discovery, and service? Will you offer us your unique presence and gifts? Will you add your name to the long history of Unitarian Universalist women and men who spread hope of our living faith? And will you engage with us as we seek to create a community and a world dedicated to love and justice. Excellent. That was a lot to process, I know. Now in French, she says. Congregation, my friends. I feel like the building's tipping this way. We've got almost everybody over here on this side. Congregation, will you welcome these new members with the warmth and comfort of your fellowship? Will you seek to add your strengths and talents to the new gifts that they bring to us? Will you share our triumphs and our struggles as our community grows and changes? Yes. Outstanding. Then, with the blessings of all this congregation and all the ancestors of this church, I officially welcome you into this community of caring and trust. And now I will have each of you sign the book, which is right behind you. So you might remember that a few months ago, my mom brought a Christmas cactus that she was given in 1970 when I was born. And this is not from that cactus, but we do have some cuttings from that cactus. I would have made cuttings for everybody, but they take so long to root, it wasn't possible. So I got you your own Christmas cactuses to bring home. And the thing I love about a Christmas cactus is the same thing I love about church. It surprises you. One day it's just green and sitting there, and then the next day you look in and it has exploded with color, and you go, wow! So thank you, Joan, Donna, Pam, Ashley, and Amanda. We are so, so happy to have you here today. And I want you to just stand up, Lisa Reagan-Durr. Yeah, you're the only Lisa Reagan-Durr. Lisa was the last person that we welcomed here, but we didn't have a congregation meeting at the time to welcome her, so let's welcome her and all of our new members. And Eli, too. Eli said he wasn't given any ceremony like this.
They wouldn't let me sign the book.
You did sign the book.
No, Linda would not let me sign the book.
Well, I see your signature there, so at some point she let you sign the book. You're definitely in there. Well, I'm so glad this really has just filled my heart this week that we'd be able to do this. I also want to say Pam has reminded me that May 1st isn't just a pagan holiday, Karen. It is a big labor holiday all around the world. So thank you for reminding us of that as well. Yes, of course. Duh. Second stupid thing I forgot today, my own anniversary and May Day. This will be here. I'll leave the book up here for after the budget hearing if anyone would like to take a peek at it, because it's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, offertory. Well, now is the time in our service where we will ask you for your... Oh, hymn. That's right. Joy Thou Goddess, isn't it? Sorry, I left my thing down there. What number is it? 327. 327. 327. Joy Thou Goddess. Please stand if you are willing and able. Joy, thou goddess fair, immortal, offspring of Elysium, mad with rapture to the portal of thy holy fane we come. Fashion's laws enjoin again, join again. Humankind is one forever, neath thy mild and gentle reign. Joy in nature's wide dominion, mightiest cause of all is found, and 'tis joy that moves the pinion when the wheel of time goes round. From the bud she lures the flower, sons from out their join again. Humankind is one forever, neath thy mild and joyful strain. Now, please be seated. Now is the time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward the good works of this church, of which there are many. Thank you. What am I doing? Oh, gotcha. Okay, so we live in this time, in this place, where we are constantly surrounded by people trying to sell us something, anything. It can be stifling. And I'm sure, like me, you get tired of being pressed from all sides to give to numerous causes. I don't have a lot to give, but I know that I have more money than some have. So I know that I should give where I can. And aside from a few very local causes, including this church, one of the only other nonprofits I feel I must give to is public radio. Our Boston GBH and its local affiliate WCAI. And if you are listeners, you know that this week was their fund drive, their spring fundraising. So here's an example of how cool our local public radio is. One of CAI's mottos, which is printed on the back of most of their t-shirts, says, "Most of our listening area is fish." Fish don't support public radio, but I do. I have been a long-time sustaining member of WCAI and WGBH. I have to be. I would feel like a thief when their pledge drive came around, because I listen literally every day, and I value it so, so much. So GBH this week was having their fundraising campaign, as I said, and I love the model that NPR uses, because it only asks you for what you can give, if you can give, while giving all that it has to you, even if you don't want it. And even if you don't give back. It seems like a totally crazy model for anyone who wants to actually make money, right? This model is basically, I will give you something awesome and free, and if you like it, well, give me some money for it, whatever. It's very hard to make money with that kind of model, right? And there are really very short periods of, there are very brief mentions of sponsorship and no commercials really, except during the pledge drives. And you know you're an NPR junkie if you keep listening through the pledge drive. Just so you can hear Patrick Stewart's voice like Captain Picard saying, you know, what is it, something about celebrities giving to NPR, giving to public radio, and you should too. During these pledge drives, they ask you to think about how you listen and to place a value of your own choosing on what they offer. I rely on them, and they are resources that I turn to every day. They delight me. When I hear their pledge drive happening, I feel good that my donation to them comes out of my checking account every month, and I do not have to fear that Ira Glass from This American Life will call me, as he occasionally does during pledge drives. It's true, people whose own family members rat them out for being avid listeners who still don't support public radio financially. Their children will call. Can you believe it? And it's a very, very effective way to get people to give you money. Have Ira Glass call them and ask them why they aren't. Maybe if we could convince like Maggie Purse or someone like that to get her to call people and be like, well, if you don't give, I don't know even why you bother coming. Something like that. Now, I bring up public radio in such detail today because my theme is about stewardship and ownership, which public radio inspires in me. It's a fantastic local resource whose programming I value because it informs and inspires me and because it's really special. This church is just as special to me, a place that I would feel lost without. And if someone asked me to put a dollar value on what I got here, that would be tough because I happen to think this is priceless. But I am more than ever aware of what it takes to maintain a castle in the middle of downtown New Bedford. And at the same time, like most of you, I hate to be pushed into giving because our limited, we all have really limited resources for non-essential things, but I think this is essential. To me, this church and its people and its programming are even more essential to me than public radio. And for every driveway moment, as they call them, that I've sat through where you just have to listen to the end of an intriguing story, there have been so many moments right here of bliss and clarity and purposefulness here while listening to a piece of music from Randy, or a story from Yasmin, or a cool sermon, or a well-timed reading or poem, or a brilliant conversation at coffee hour afterward, or playing with the kids in the churchyard, or walking the labyrinth, all these cool things. There is tangible value here. I feel it in our commitment to compassion, social justice, and equality. I see it in the faces of the people who visit our thrift shop. I hear it in the laughter of our way cool Sunday school kids. I smell it in the sweet air of our glorious garden, and I taste it in the coffee. Public radio asks you to put a value on something that's a little less tangible than what happens here. Something that seems to exist seems not to exist until you actively actually turn on your radio, right? So although our pledge drive is similar to how public radio does it, we have the actual stewardship of a real piece of architectural history. The term castle is not just tongue-in-cheek here. Look around. Our church is much more like an imposing castle than many of the more modest New England churches, our friends in Fairhaven being the exception, of course. Maintaining the physical structure and grounds are necessary and expensive. We are quite literally stewards of this building and its history, and we love it and it's important to us. But we're really trying to maintain the spiritual home and family that we've built here. And to do that, we've got to keep the walls up. So today we welcomed 5 new members, and that's the best. New members bring new ideas, new energy, and new life to us here. Expanding this beloved community is so important to me, and not just to try and bring this beautiful church into the next generation, but because I know so many people are out there who would love us and who we would love, and that it would make a difference for all of us if we just found each other, for goodness sakes. We light a candle every week for those who haven't found a welcoming and safe place like this to share their true selves or to expand their hearts and minds. And I mean it when I light that candle. That gets me right here sometimes, that there are people that are desperately looking for a kind and supportive place. And here we are right here, desperately looking for people to come find a beautiful and supportive place. And we just have to find a way to get each other together, right? A congregation is a living thing. It goes through phases in its history, growing and changing all the time. It's a living body created by the people who inhabit it, who choose to be stewards of it for our limited time. What we feed it, the energy we put into it, will determine whether or not we can thrive. We have had a great year, although we are still on shaky new legs coming out of this pandemic and returning to some sort of normalcy. But it will take the dedication of all of our members to keep us growing and moving forward. If you appreciate the Sunday services, if you appreciate Randy and the music, Yasmin and our Waco Sunday School, our sextons and our office staff, our newsletter, our small groups and programs, the fellowship and the friends, and a spiritual community. And if you want us to help expand our programming and maintain this beautiful building, then I ask you now to think about what it's worth to you. We are all stewards here, and that means trying all we can to ensure that these treasures of ours will be here for the next generation. Like public radio, our programming and staff is supported by donations and pledges from friends and members. Unlike public radio, we don't interrupt your programming to solicit donations for as long as it takes to reach the budget goal. We interrupt our programming to ask you to support our pledge drive one Sunday a year. Today is that Sunday, and we need your support. One-time donations in the collection from visitors are terrific, but it's not something we can depend on for funding. We have people make a pledge so that we know what we can afford next year. And though some might say you should give till it hurts, I don't believe that. I say give what you reasonably can. It's more important to get a reasonable pledge that will get actually paid than an overly generous one that won't. I would much rather have everyone here give just a little bit than have just a few give a lot. That way, everyone is invested in this church. I don't know if some of you probably remember Gladys Goldberg. And Gladys did not have a lot of money, but she came every week, and she made a pledge of 50 cents a week. And she brought her 2 quarters with her and gave it to the minister, it wasn't me at the time, every week. Doesn't sound like much. To her, it was a lot. To me, it said, that lady loves this place. And she is giving more than the person that writes a check for $10,000 and hands it to you, because she's here every week and she gives without thinking about it, but she makes sure she does. That's awesome. And in case you weren't aware, you don't have to be a member here to make a pledge or to be a sustainer of this church. Although, of course, as I said, we are very happy to have new members. You can pay your pledge in a number of ways now. You can write a check, of course, and make sure that you put pledge in that note line on your check if you're going to do that, because although, as well as if you just put money in the collection, thinking somehow Maria isn't just a bookkeeper but a psychic and knows that that $5 came from Brownie Sherman that's supposed to go through to his pledge. She doesn't know that. How's she supposed to know? So if it is a cash donation that goes toward your pledge, please put it in an envelope and put your name on it and put pledge there somewhere. So some people mail in a check. Some people come by the office and drop it off personally. And if you come by the office, there is always a bonus of chocolate and dog cuddles from Bowie. And you can hang out with me and Sarah too, that's fun. Another way that you could do this, which is becoming more popular, is through automatic deductions from your checking account or credit card. NPR calls this being a sustainer. And it makes it really easy to make sure that someone is giving their pledge and not really have to think about it. It just happens. And of course, how you pay your pledge can be changed at any time if you decide you don't want to do that anymore. So think about what works for you, and Sarah will make it happen. We are all keepers of this dream, a dream of liberal religion and the search for truth, justice, and fairness in our communities, of fellowship with kindred spirits, of progress and diversity in our spiritual home, of the growth and change that will inspire the next generation to want to be keepers of this dream. This is precious, precious what we have here. And I hope you'll make a pledge today that reflects how much you value what this church is and the spiritual community we have here. With all of my heart, I thank you today, and with all of my heart, I am so happy to welcome our new members. Amen, church, amen. Now, our closing hymn is number 187, 187. It sounds along the ages. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing. It sounds along the ages, soul answering to soul. It kindles on the pages of every Bible scroll. The psalmist heard and sang it, from martyrs' lips it broke, and prophet tongues outrang it, till sleeping nations woke. From Sinai's cliffs it echoed, it breathed from Buddha's tree. It charmed in Athens' market, it hallowed Galilee. The hammer stroke of Luther, the pilgrim seaside prayer, the oracles of Concord, one holy word declare. It calls and lo, new justice, it speaks and lo, new truth. In every nobler stature and unexalted, forever on resounding, and knowing not of time, our laws but catch the music of its eternal chime. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they might come true. If you have known love, go give some back to a bruising and hurting world. Amen. Hold fast, my friends. We love you. Stay strong. Live long and prosper. Amen. Have a seat. Please stay for the budget hearing.